Few lectures, it will be repetitive in nature, but my ultimate aim is that how to rephrase probability. It is all about understanding. So uh, don't bother about the repetition of same concept. All about just try to uh, change yourself. So in order to understand probability. So today's outline of my lectures are the following. First, I will give a very deep, deeper sense of basic concept of probability. What kind of important concept will play in order to define axiomatic approach of probability theory. Then I will talk about a few laws of probability. So those are directly coming from Kolmogorov approach. So those things I will discuss in detail. So coming to basic concept of probability, first I will uh, give here a brief glimpse of a picture of basic concept of probability, and uh, term wise I will explain uh, every element of that basic concept. So there are many ingredient to understand basic concept of probability. So I am giving a very brief picture of that probability. Those things I am calling it element of probabilistic models. So whenever you are having a column associated with some kind of uncertainty or randomness, and if you try to mathematically model that problem, then the resultant problem we are calling it probabilistic model. So simply whenever you apply law of probability, we are getting a we are trying to solve that problem by developing a probabilistic model. It is all about that. So the main ingredient of probabilistic models are four things. So I have already characterized here. So first one is random experiment. You need to know what is random experiment. I had already mentioned that an experiment where there is some amount of uncertainty or randomness, then such kind of experiment we are calling it random experiment, where we can't predict future. So or we can't predict outcome. So whatever outcome will come, we can't predict from the present time. So before happening, we can't predict. So that's why that experiment happens in random in nature, and we are calling it random experiment. Once we are having a random experiment, so what we do, we try to quantify randomness. So in order to do that quantification, what we do, we are introducing few terms. So one important term is sample space. What we do, that we are saying that when we perform any random experiment, then we know almost all possible outcomes. That means we are having idea of all possible outcomes. Like if you toss a coin, if you are tossing a coin, so what are the possible outcomes? So there would be only two kind of possibilities. One would be head, another would be tail. So there, these head and tail, these are the two possibility when you are performing a tossing a coin. So that's way, that means while tossing a coin, you know all possible outcome. So that's way you can quantify any kind of random activity associated with a coin, tossing a coin. Okay, so simply again, if you take a dice and if you throw a dice or roll a dice, then how many possibilities are there? There are six possibilities. Six faces may appear. One of the six faces may appear. So those six faces we generally denote it by the same number. One, first phase we are calling it one. Second phase we are calling it two. Second, third phase we are calling it three, and fifth phase we are calling it five, and last one, sixth phase, we are denoting it by six. So these are the phases. So these are the possible outcome. So when we throw a roll a dice, always, so these are the only possible outcome. So when we are saying that these are the only possible outcome, that means sample space is agnostic in nature. That means it includes all possible outcomes. So that means exhaustive property must be mm, here in the sample space. And apart from exhaustive, there is one more property with respect to event, what we are calling it. Would you like to answer, anyone like would you like to answer that what is the property of event that it is essential to have that in case of random experiment? One property I mentioned that it is exhaustive property or mutually exhaustive. What is the, what is next property, second one? Because you all have already gone through probability classes in 12. Okay, Mohan Babu, would you like to answer? What are the properties of event? Are you listening me? But I'm asking question from your 12th probability. I'm not asking from last class. It is just a simple common sense kind of question. Don't bother about that. But while in class, you have to be attentive. Okay. Any just any response. Anyone would you like to answer? One property regarding sample space. I told that it must be exhaustive in nature. What is the next property? Just feel that. Try to visualize sample space and from there try to give an answer. Because whenever you are just trying to solve any problem, then definitely you need to know those two property. If you don't know those two property, definitely you will fail to solve a problem related to randomness. Okay, Chirsagar, would you like to answer? What are two important property of sample space? One property is I told that exhaustive. What is the exhaustive property that happens to be the second property? What is the first property of sample space? Chirsagar, are you listening me? Okay, then just if you are having okay, then I will ask. Okay, Sarang, would you like to answer? What is first property of a sample space? That one is very much essential to solve problem. Yeah, that one is very fine. Yeah, I had to mention nothing. Repeat again. Repetition. No, then you know that in this probability, always we take properties from set theory. In set theory, repetition is always repetition of element is already allowed. But if you define sequence in sequence, uh, then repetition is having meaning. So don't try to differentiate from repetition perspective. That repetition phenomena it mean to differentiate between set and sequence. But if you come to define sample space, just try to think something more. What you may have that idea definitely. Not unique. You are very close, but not say, using the proper word. Uniqueness is not going to. Actually, it is mutually exclusive. Are you getting the meaning of mutually exclusive? So what is meaning of Mitch? Yeah, Mitch. Yeah. Sample space must have two property. First property is mutually exclusive. And second one is exhaustive, mutually exhaustive. And that sample space always collect. It is a collection of all possible outcomes. So that one is inherited in a sample space. There is no issue. But if you talk about property, then mutually exclusive and mutually exhaustive. These two are very important property. Through that you can solve a problem. While solving problem, I have taken few problems. There you will see that how to define, how to get probability of an event with the help of these two property. I have taken example from that perspective as well. So what you do that what is meaning of mutually exclusive? So if you toss a coin, so if you are tossing a coin, and then definitely there are two possible outcomes. Either you will get head or you will get tail. So if you are getting head, and getting head definitely it kills the chance of getting tail. So what does it mean? It simply say that at the same time head and tail can't appear together. That means both are mutually exclusive. Did you get the meaning of mutually exclusive? Okay. I simply again another example. If you are taking dice, if you are rolling a dice, then if you roll a dice and you are getting one, then definitely getting one. What does it mean? It is totally mutually exclusive from other outcomes. Other that means two, three, four, five, six. So getting one kills the happening of or appearance of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's where all these uh, occurrence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in rolling a dice happens to be mutually exclusive. So that is the meaning of mutually exclusive. So two face can't appear together in a single throw of a dice. Two face can't appear. So that one is very ambiguous situation that can't appear. So that's where these are very meaningful things to understand. Now another thing, what I am calling it exhaustive. Exhaustive means that it that means when you are considering a random experiment, then sample space definitely should consider all the possible outcomes. Like if you are tossing a coin, then what are the possible outcomes in a single toss? Head and tail. So definitely all two would come in the sample space. That means if you take union of all the sample point, then it will give the sample space. So that is the meaning of agnostic in nature. That means every possible outcome are included in the sample space. And suppose we can't have a coin which will give three options like head, tail, and in between of head and tail. So such scenario generally we are not taking. Yeah, there may be a certain degree of biasness. So those biasness, when we will consider, then things would be complicated. We will try to study those things later. Those are part of different things. So definitely, when you try to solve real world problem are not ideal. They are having those are having a lot of complexity. So those things we will study after introducing few more terms. Okay, so I think both concept of sample space, exhaustive, and mutually exclusive might be clear to everyone. So remember that whenever you start probability, you start with random process, random experiment, then you are taking a sample space, and sample space must have two properties. Okay, now I'm going forward. Further, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I'm going forward. Okay. So here I have given a picture of all these probabilistic model. Whatever I told, so everything you can say that. So here we have taken a random experiment. So experiment, so by default, whenever I will recall experiment, just consider that as a random experiment. Why? Because I'm teaching probability and random process. So experiment by default it would be a random experiment. So once we are having a random experiment, so we collected all the possible outcome and we come across this sample space. So we are having a sample space. Within the sample space, we try to zoom it out further. So if you zoom it out further, and what you will observe in sample space, you will observe that few things happening together. Like if you toss rolling a dice, then how can you further divide things among this sample within the sample space? You can say that few cases are odd, few cases are even. So those kind of things. So further classification you can do that like that way. So even due to that further classification of sample space or further subdivision of sample space resulted into event. Event. We are saying that event. So within the sample space, we observe various events. So events are nothing. These are just subsets of all possible subset of a sample space. So if you are taking a subset set, suppose you are taking a set head and tail. So how many possible subset are possible for this? This one is sample space. So I will denote a sample space. I will take a unified notation, omega, capital omega. So if you toss a coin, then this is the sample space of tossing a coin. Now tell me how many possible subset this omega would have. Anyone would you like to answer how many possible subset this set may have? It is a very famous result from again set theory. In mathematics in class 11th you might have uh, set theory first in mathematics. So how many possible subset are there in this set, for this set with respect to this set? How many possible set? Just try to construct a possible subset. Can you construct and then later recall formula? Who would like to construct all possible subset of this given set omega? having two element H and T. Can you construct? Right now, I haven't started anything new. Just I'm rephrasing thing what you have already gone through. Okay, Sriram, would you like to uh, construct possible subset within the given uh, sample space of a coin, tossing a coin, while tossing a coin? How many possible subset are there? Sriram Shiv Ganesh, would you like to answer? Hmm? Question I am saying that tell me how many possible subset this set is having, this omega. How many possible subset this one is having? That means how many events you can define it here in this. When you are tossing a coin, how many possible events you can define? That is the question. Head until, yeah, it is all possible outcome you told that. But if you toss a coin, what are the possibility? Possibility you won't get any, neither head nor tail. All possible subset. I am saying that set we are calling it phi. The, then yeah, null set that we are calling it null set. Other possibility is that you may get head. Other possibility is that you will get tail. Okay. Other possibility is that, what is that? What is other possibility? Either you will get head or tail. So there are there are four possible subset of this set. Have you gone through that in set theory? So if you are having a set whose cardinality of that set is n, then how many possible subsets are there? 2 to the power n. Have you heard that result? If you are having a set which is having n number of elements, then what are the possible subset in that set? 2 to the power n. 2 to the power n. Yes. Impossible kind of thing. If suppose coin is very biased or uh, impossibility that we are not getting any output, then impossible. Simply we are saying that phi is simply, what does it mean? Probability of phi is 0. That means that one is impossible event. Probability is 0. It would, we have to consider every possibility now. We have to every event wise we are trying to in the within the sample space we try to go through event wise what are the possible event. So it is event is what it is just event is collection of some outcome. Are you see the difference between sample space and event? Sample space is what collection of all possible outcomes. Okay. But when we are uh, coming to event, event is what collection of simply it is some outcome. Some may be no outcome. What is meaning of no outcome? How you can measure that no outcome? If you toss a coin, someone catch that coin and take it away, then what would be outcome? Neither you no outcome. So how you denote no outcome? No, no, zero is not five. Yeah, no. Here, this one is directly derived from shade theory perspective. That what I told that this result. I am saying from this result. Yes. Yeah. 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 Yes. No, listen, phi is not outcome. Phi is not outcome. It is some. It is what I told that sample of space is what? It is collection of outcome. Event is what? Some outcome. So by playing with outcome, we try to construct phi. Phi, we are saying that no outcome. No outcome. How we denote it? We denote it by phi. So it is agmatic approach to say that. And when then that means we are taking there are how many, if you're tossing a coin, there would be random variable as well. So what are the possible, if you're tossing coin, the how many head you will get? What are the possibility of getting head when you are tossing a coin? What are the possibility? If you toss a coin, how many possible head you will get? No, no, no. Either you will get zero or you will get one. Either you will get zero head or you will get one head. Maximum one head. If you are tossing a coin, maximum number of head would be one. Otherwise, you will get no head. That means zero. Similarly, if you what are the maximum chance of getting tail? One, and minimum chance of getting tail is zero. For tail, zero. Okay. So just combine these two. If zero zero, you are combining these two together. That means no head, no tail. So that will come directly in the category of pi. That directly it is coming in the category of no impossible. Impossible. Simply, what is the measure of impossible event? Measure is, that means probability is zero. And what is the possibility that someone just play a game like this way? Uh, I will just play a bet like that, that I will win. I will win if I get head or tail. What will be what will be result? If you are saying that you and your younger brother or sister, you playing together for some games you are going to play some kind of match, cricket match or something like that. So you are saying that you are smart enough, and you will say that if I will get head or tail, then I will bat. But your sibling who is very younger than you, then that person can't understand that thing clear way, head or tail. So respect of anything, always you will win. So that means what is the probability of your winning? It would be one, because you are saying that I will win when I will get head or tail. That means you are taking this thing, head or tail, that you are taking complete sample space. If you are fair enough, and in the same process, what is the uh, complement of sample space? That means in the same page. So this one is you. Suppose it is, you are saying I will win if I get head or tail. In the same phase, what would be your sibling? For your sibling, it will be no chance of winning, impossible. For for that scenario, what would be event associated with your sibling? It would be pi now. So did you get the meaning of that? These two, hmm. Actually, listen, there are many words. So if you try to differentiate sample space, outcome, sample point, so head and tail individually, atomic type, atomic table, it happens to be sample point. And you can call it sample point, you can call it outcome. Both are same. Now, when you are trying to define event, event is what? It is made from outcomes. Event is made from some outcome. Some means some may include no outcome, may include all outcome. So there is a range of some. Are you getting that? So event is very much, if you talk about in a set theory approach, then event is very much similar with subset. So event you can call it subset. So that's where outcome outcome of just outcome is related with once you perform any random experiment, whatever thing is coming before you, that is your outcome. Whenever you perform a random experiment and whatever thing coming before you now, that one is outcome. So if you toss a coin, you can't get head and tail together. Either you will get head or you will get tail. So head is outcome, tail is outcome. Head or tail is not outcome. Head or tail, that one is not outcome. That one is an event. You got no? So there is a very clear in sample asphyxia. So welcome. And one more thing I would like to you ask. I happy that you asked such question. And always, if you go for such kind of discussion, then things would be always very good in shape. So what you do? So you are always start with a random experiment, and once you perform random experiment, then just write scenario like this way. Then you are getting outcome. Then you are playing with outcome, and you are making two important part of probability. That one is sample space, another one is events. Okay. So when you perform a random experiment, then at one trial you are getting one outcome. Whenever you perform a random experiment at one trial, you will outcome. And if you consider all possible outcome, then all possible outcome will give sample space. If you are taking some outcome, then some outcome will give event. Okay. Okay, fine. Now happy to uh, explain all this. So now I'm going to further. So one more important, when sample space and event both are clear to everyone, now we need to introduce some kind of assignment number, some number that varies between 0 to 1. So that number, it is coming with respect to, we are calling it probability measure, or simply we can say that it is probability. What is the probability measure? So like if you are tossing a coin, what is the probability of getting head in this with respect to this sample space? So probability of getting head is 1 by 2. Why? Here now here once this one is agmatic approach, you have already defined sample, you have already defined event. Then after you are defining probability of uh, particular event. So here, so you can directly go through that common sense or entity idea of definition of probability. So you can say that probability of getting head is what would be, you can say count it here, that what is the number of head here. So number of head is 1 and total number of outcome is 2. So you can say that probability of getting head is 1 by 2. Similarly, probability of getting tail is 1 by 2. So here you can define, because things are here arithmetic in nature, because you have already introduced, you have all idea about outcome, all possible outcome. It simply say that when you are tossing a coin and you have already taken a sample of space, it means that you know about all possible outcome, exhaustive nature of the random process. Okay. So that's why we are introducing here probability measure, uh, which map as sample space to number, real number. Sample space to real number, that real number between 0 to 1. So probability measures, that is I will discuss in detail. Going further, random experiment, again I am coming to discuss about random experiment. So random experiment, it is an experiment whose outcome cannot be predicted before the experiment is performed. It we can't predict. We can predict with some uncertainty. We do, however, know in advance that outcome are possible in the experiment. That means we know about possible outcomes, but we don't know what will. For example, again, I'm recalling same example. If you flip a coin, you know it will come up either heads or tails. You just do not know which of these outcome will actually occurs in a given experiment. So there is no restriction on what constitute an experiment. For example, it could be a single toss of a coin, or remember that in experiment it could be a single tossing a tossing of a coin, or it could be a tossing of three coins together, or it could be tossing of infinitely many coins together. So in an experiment, anything can happen. There is no restriction. But remember that outcome with respect to experiment will be very much associated with the trial. How many trial you are doing? So outcome is directly associated with trial. Okay, so it is important to note that for formulation of a probabilistic model, there is only one experiment. So whenever you are trying to develop any kind of probabilistic model, there would be only one experiment. So three tosses of a coin constitute a single experiment rather than three experiments. So if you're tossing a coin, uh, three coins together, that means it is a single experiment. It is not, that means we are having three experiments. So single, you can consider that as a single experiment. Other, due to such approach, you won't commit a mistake. Now, important part in once you are having idea of random experiment, then you are having idea of outcome, then you can talk about sample space. So the first ingredient of any probabilistic model is the specification of all possible outcome of a random experiment. So that is all possible random experiment, collection of all possible outcome of a random experiment. We are calling it sample space, and the sample space of an experiment may consist of a finite or infinite number of possible outcomes. So if you are just dealing with discrete kind of events, outcome, or discrete kind of phenomena, then there would be some finiteness in the sample space. But suppose you are taking a circular board and you try to hit that board with dart, then definitely that board, circular board or disc, circular disc, then that disc will contain infinitely many points. So dart can hit any of those points. So due to that, their sample space would be infinite in nature. So there would be infinitely many possibility. So many situations are there. It is not like that always our sample space would be finite number. It may be infinite number as well. So finite sample space are conceptually and mathematically simpler, easy to deal with. Still, sample space with infinite number of elements are quite common. So, for example, here I have already taken considering throwing a dart on a square target, viewing the point of impact as the outcome. Okay. So here, what would be sample space? Regardless of their number, different element of sample space should be distinct and mutually exclusive, so that when the experiment is carried out, there is a unique outcome. Further, I would like to say that the sample space chosen for a probabilistic must be collectively same thing. I am recalling it here. One thing I told that sample space must be mutually exclusive. Second one is collectively exhaustive in nature. Same. So both things are repetitive in nature. So I would like to skip all this. So I have taken one example here. Consider two alternative games. Both involves 10 successive coin tosses. So just suppose you are playing two games. In game one, we receive $1 each time a head comes. Okay. So in game one, we receive $1 each time a head comes when head is coming up. So what are the possibility? What would be sample space? Who would like to give answer? What would be sample space in the game one? What would be sample space? Game one is talking about you will receive $1 each time a head comes up. That means when you will get head, then you will get $1. If you are not getting head, you won't get $1. Okay. So what are the possibility? The sample space would be no. Here I have given here 10 successive coin tosses. You have to toss coin 10 times, and you will get $1 each time if you are getting hit. So what is the sample space for game one? Again, attempt was nice, but again try to just see from 10 tosses perspective. What would be? It would be zero. Yeah, nice. So there would be how many outcomes? Uh, how, outcome or how many sample point? Outcome or sample point? 11. There would be 11. Nice. Oh, 11. So that is the case. So it will go 0, 1, 2 up to 10. Now there is second game. Game 2. It says that we receive $1 for every coin toss. Remember that? Here we will receive $1 for every coin toss up to. Remember that? Now condition, further condition is coming. Up to and including the first time a head comes up. Up to and including the first time a heads come up. Then we receive $2 for every coin toss up to the second time. Second time a head comes up. More generally, the dollar amounts per toss is double each time a head comes up. Okay. What would be sample space here? Okay, I'm making this systematic. Recall game one. In game one, it is only the total number of heads in the 10 toss sequence that matters. While in the game two, the order of heads and tail is also important. Order of heads and tail both are important. Head, your chance of winning dollar would double. It would be double. So that's where head. So order of head tail is also very important in game two. Thus, in probabilistic model for game one, we can work with a sample space consisting of every possible outcome, namely 0 to 10. So this is the sample space for game one. Now coming to game two there is a further refinement or finer grained description of the experiment is called for, and it is more appropriate to let the sample space consist of every possible 10 long sequence of heads and tails. So many experiments have infinitely or inherently. So what? So definitely it would be this sample space for game two. It would be much finer. There would be further refinement of in the sample space itself. Okay. Now coming to to describe this kind of situation, what is happening that some sequential character is coming into picture. So if you are having a sequential pattern in the sample space, then how can you picturize those sample space? So there are two approaches here. We'll see that, and also in communication sector also you can observe that. So I have taken one picture here. How can you we can put a sample space which is having a sequential pattern. We can give a tree structure like this way. Tree structure. So these are right now introductory kind of things. And detailed things I will discuss in other courses when I will cover conditional probability. Why? Because there what will happen that conditioning is playing very important role. Also, there would be some technique would come. The technique it is not definitely it is not heat and trial. There is certain names. Unable to recall that technique. I will discuss during conditional probability. Okay, come to see here. Just recall from the set theory picture. Try to recall different operation in sets. So all these this operation what we are calling, this one is talking about S intersection T. This one is the intersection operation. This is the intersected region. What is this one? This one is the union. Union operation. That means S intersection T. All these are Venn diagram picture. What is this one? This one is, that means we subtracted T from S. What is this one? T is already contained in S. What is this E? E is talking about S, T and U. All three are mutually disjoint. There is no common element between these. And what is this? If you observe this kind of things, so you observe that here S, T and U are all are mutually exclusive. That means there is no common element between these three shapes. And further, if you take union of these three S, U and T, then union would be equal to complete sample space omega. So if you are taking such kind of subsets within sample space, then this kind of structure is giving a very important role in the sample space, that we are calling it partitioning. So we are doing a partitioning of a sample space into three parts. So it is in we have divided this sigma into three parts in such a way every any two subset happens to be mutually exclusive, and all the subsets are mutually collectively exhaustive in nature. So these things are playing very important role in Bayes theorem and also in conditional uh, con especially in Bayes theorem. It is playing very important role. Okay, so all these are just set theory. Just recall from set theory approach what are the meaning of all this. So coming to probability measure. So again, I would like to recall few things here. So to model a random experiment, we will specify for each event. I told that what is event? It is event means some collection of some outcome or some out. Simply say that some outcome. So we will specify for each event our degree of confidence. That degree of confidence we will call it uh, probability measure or simply probability about whether this event will occur or not. So this degree of confidence is always specified by a number. That number lies between 0 to 1, and we are calling this assignment number, it is probability to the particular event A. Suppose we are having an event A and whose assignment number P of A equal to 1, and we say that the event A is certain. That means definitely it will happen. So if probability of A is equal to 1, we simply say that A is a certain event. There is no uncertainty. If we say that probability of event A is equal to 0, then we say that probability of A is 0 means A is definitely uncertain event. That means impossible event. A can't happen. A never happens in any experiment. It can't happen in any experiment. So this one is impossible scenario. This is certain scenario. What is the real scenario? Real scenario is saying that if you are taking an event, then probability of that event, that assignment number, it would be between 0 and 1. That means 0.7. So this one is a practical event. So if we are having an event such that probability of that event A is equal to zero point 0.7, then we say that the event will occur in some realization of the experiment, not in other, before we run the experiment. And we are how much confident? 70% confident that the event will happen. So that's why probability of age 0.7. So you can also convert the probability into percentage as well. How you convert a number into percentage? So what is meaning of percentage? From high school mathematics, you might be aware of that. So if someone is writing percentage, what is meaning of that? This percentage is actually numerically equal to 1 by 100. So don't consider percentage just in a special character. It is having a mathematical meaning. So percentage is equivalent to. So I would like to write here equivalent to 1 by 100. So that is meaning of this. Okay. So something like you can write it 100 by 100. You are writing like this way. Something you are writing 1 equal to 100 by 100, and here 1 by 100 you will write as percentage. 1 by 100 is percentage. That's it. It is 100, and you can say that 1 is equal to what? Equal to 100%. 1 is equal to 100 by 100, and 100 by 100 simply we are writing 100%. Like this way, here 0.7 we are having 0.7. So 0.7 is what numerically, if you willing to write in term of percentage, so what would be this one? So you have to multiply and divide with 100, and the division part 1 by 100 we will call it percentage. So if you multiply 0.7 with 100, what you will get? Resultant would be 70. So that's way 0.7 is equivalent in a percentage wise, it is equivalent to 70%. So that's way 0.7 probability is equivalent to 70% quantity.